Alright, first things first, full spoiler warning. Usually I try to avoid spoilers for these reviews, but that's because usually there's something worth watching with them. Not here. I came in expecting things to be inaccurate, but I hoped it would still be an entertaining movie, even if it wasn't accurate to the games it's based on. Oops, I was wrong. First things first, none of these characters are anything like their in-game counterparts, to an almost insulting degree. Leon Scott Kennedy is now a blundering idiot who doesn't want any responsibility and constantly needs to be saved by Claire. Jill is a trigger-happy bitch who's got the hots for Wesker, so she's constantly giving him bedroom eyes. Wesker himself is a kind, endearing man who's just a little misguided. Claire and Chris hate each other, and Claire is this dour, broody grump who bums off of other people. Sherry is barely in this movie, and her main character trait is how much she really loves her daddy. Giving credit where credit is due, Chris is actually spot on. The only shining light in this movie is Robbie Amell's fantastic portrayal of Chris Redfield, and he's the only one who's retained his actual personality, being the strong leader with tight morals, yet also being a big himbo. The worst thing about him is that this version of Chris views Birkin as a father figure. The way the director and writer has just misread Birkin is disgusting. But the biggest salt in the wound is Lisa Trevor, who's now a misunderstood, kind, lonely girl who's BFFs with Claire, like a weird Resident Evil version of Quasimodo. And then every other character is either an idiot or an asshole, and some of our favorites never show up. Barry's not in this movie, or the shopkeeper. What's worse though is Marvin's gone. He's been replaced with this old, fat, white dude who's a cowardly asshole who constantly treats Leon like shit. But it's not just the characters that are missing. 99% of the monsters and bioweapons aren't here too, including Mr. X. Mr. X, the most iconic bad guy from Resi 2, and you left him out of the movie? The only baddies we see are the typical boring old zombies and one liquor. That's it, just the one liquor. Oh, and Birkin, but the trailer already spoiled that. Beyond the characters, this movie is just bafflingly terrible from like a basic production point of view. It's so dark. Like, I was squinting through the whole movie. I could tell there was supposed to be something spooky happening, but I just couldn't ever see it. And I watched this in theaters too. An entirely dark theater still couldn't help me to see anything. It's especially bad with people's faces. Like, even when the characters are sitting in a fully lit room with the lights on, there's so many hard shadows on their faces and everything that I just can't see. Well, except for at one point in time where Chris is firing in the dark and we see the illumination from his gun, and I kid you not, it is the most painfully nauseating, eye-straining strobe effect I have ever seen in any medium. And it lasts for like a solid 3 minutes. It's like they wanted everyone watching this movie to have a seizure, or at least just throw up everywhere. And the soundtrack is confusing and so painfully out of tone. Like, a man is on fire as a zombie, and a bubblegum pop song is playing. We watch civilians getting mowed down by umbrella agents, and no joke, Journey's Any Way You Want It is playing on top of it. Everyone's acting is fine if I ignore the fact that these are nothing like the characters they're supposed to be, except for Jill's actress. She was like really bad. She mumbled a lot and failed to deliver like any emotions in any way. It was especially bad during her big emotional moment. I can't understand how you can claim to make a movie based off of a beloved game franchise and then refuse to adapt any of the characters accurately in the slightest. And even if you know nothing about Resident Evil, this movie would still suck. The pace is either a snail-like crawl or nauseatingly frantic. None of the characters are interesting or likable, and they don't even get to develop or grow in any way throughout the whole movie. Hell, half of them don't even get, like, establishment. Most of the dialogue in the movie where we would be getting to know these characters is given to, like, background nobodies going on and on and on about how shitty Raccoon City is. God, this place sucks. No one likes living here. Isn't this just the worst town ever? Can I, like, develop a character? There's a whole character sitting next to Chris, and I had to go through the whole movie to figure out it was Vickers. Like, we bounce around a lot, and it's jammed full of references to the games that a non-fan wouldn't understand. Most of them are cringingly delivered by Jill, or just randomly thrown into the middle of a scene. Oh, look, it says itchy tasty. Do you get it? That was a reference. No, I don't get it, because it's out of context of what the original had, and it's just jammed into the middle of the scene for no reason. The only horror they attempted is ear-piercingly loud jump scare screams. And this movie isn't even fun as, like, an action thriller, because it's too damn dark to see any of the actions. And the one or two times I could see what was going on, it was poorly filmed with a camera jerking around back and forth with a lens that keeps most of everything out of focus. Despite having a ton of characters, they never talk to each other. Claire and Leon never become friends. Sherry and Claire never even meet each other. Chris and Jill have one line of dialogue together. Every character's death is stupid and easy to predict. They don't even nuke Raccoon City in the end. The one thing, the biggest catalyst for the rest of the franchise, and they didn't even do that. It's disgusting how bad this is. To celebrate Resident Evil's 25th anniversary, some dickwad tried writing their own fanfiction version of the Wikipedia description of these iconic games. Then they passed it off to an incompetent director, and together they delivered this piece of shit. Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Nako, James Dodds, Cool Duck, Andrew, Ramiel, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G-Extreme, Classy Critic, Mordred Pendragon, Boulder Off Bros, Sunny Shy, Great Bar, Caleb Grimm, Pentimenta, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Storm, Amber, Lolith, Livid Aries, Matt Frost, Hype Man, Luno the Evoker, Zero to Hero, and Keithan.